Having found inverses of linear functions, now we move on to finding inverses of non-linear functions. Process will stay the exact same. We're going to switch x and y and then solve for y. So keeping it simple, again, if I see f of x, that's okay. It's function notation, that's fine. I just imagine that it's a y, no big deal. So as I find the inverse of this function, I'm going to switch x and y. A different color for that. X is equal to 4y to the fourth. And then I solve for y so that it's written in terms of x as input and y as output. Divide by 4 first, which will give me x over 4 is equal to y to the fourth. And then to undo raising y to the fourth power, we do what we've learned about in this chapter, and that would be taking the fourth root of that expression. And then I take the fourth root of this expression as well. The whole thing, top and bottom, make sure you include all of that. So when I'm done, y would be by itself. I'll replace that with the f inverse notation. So we'll f with a -1, meaning f inverse of x is equal to the fourth root of x over 4. There would be my inverse function, at a nonlinear function. Then with the next one, 2x cubed minus 6 divided by 9 is our original function. So to find the inverse, switch x and y and solve for y. And again, what I'm going to think about is all the things that happen to the input happen in the inverse operation in reverse order. So last thing that would happen to x here would be dividing by 9. That's the first thing that's going to happen to it in the inverse. So as I solve for y, I need to multiply by 9 first. So now that 9x is equal to 2y cubed minus 6, well, then the second to last thing that happens to the input here is we subtract 6. So that's going to be the second thing that needs to happen in the inverse. So I'll add 6 to both sides. I'll have 9x plus 6 is equal to 2y cubed. The second thing that happens to x here, the first thing being x cubed and then the second thing being multiplied by 2. Well, that's where I am in the moment, so I have to undo the multiplying by 2, which means divide everything by 2, like so. And then, because I've got y cubed by itself on one side, I undo the cubing of y by taking the cube root. So the cube root of y cubed is just y. And then I'll take the cube root of the entire expression over here, all of it. So when I'm done, f inverse of x is equal to the cube root of this big old expression. We've got the cube root of, and all of it needs to be underneath that radical symbol, 9x plus 6, all divided by 2. And there would be our inverse of a non-linear function once again.